Welcome back to Sports by GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jeremy Lapidus. If you are just tuning in, we just finished going over the Colts and their schedule as well as their offseason. I had them going 10-7 on the year. We also talked about a lot of wide receiver news earlier on the show. Brandon Ayuk had an update with him officially working on an extension with the 49ers now. Lots and ups and downs and twists and turn in that tale of the 2024 offseason. We also talked about CeeDee Lamb not being a priority for the Cowboys. An interesting thing to say publicly, but it's all posturing for contract stuff. So we'll see what actually happens in the future. In this segment, we're going to finish off our show with our classic Friday segment, the MLB Power Rankings. We're going to take a trip around the MLB, give you a nice little update on how every single team is doing and where they stand when compared to the rest of the league. But before we do that, remember, if you would like to be an even bigger part of the show than you already are, all you need to do is go to GSMCpodcast.net. Leave a tip or donation with the message in it. That message should pop up on the bottom of the screen for you, me, and everybody else around the world to see. If you are on YouTube, you have another option with the Sports Network channel. You can use that super chat button. Same thing. You can leave a super chat. A message should pop up on the bottom of the screen for you, me, and everybody else around the world to see. I appreciate anything you guys do give. If you have a burning question about sports, anything at all you'd like to ask, go ahead and throw that in the comments. Throw it in the chat. I'll get to it as soon as I possibly can. I appreciate you guys for sticking around, talking some sports with me here on a beautiful Friday afternoon. But like I was saying, we are going to get into the MLB Power Rankings. We have a fresh set of Power Rankings from today, August 9th. Looking at our 1 to 30, we will start right there at the bottom. Maybe the most intriguing story in all of sports this week. The Chicago White Sox took the world by storm because they suck, because they've been so bad. The White Sox lost 21 straight games. They are sitting loudly and proudly at our number 30 spot in the power rankings this week, with a chance to be crowned kings of the number 30 spot if they finish off the season with a worse record than the 1962 Mets. 120 losses is what they're chasing. That infamous record is what they're trying not to beat. At 29, I have the Marlins. The Marlins are more quietly, not very good at at baseball. They're probably not very good at football either, but they're not very good at baseball. They're here at the bottom. Them and the Rockies continue to flip-flop. I've got the Marlins down here at 29 for the second week in a row. The Rockies stick at 28. The Athletics, the team that let the White Sox break that 21-game losing streak, stay there at 27. They've got a little bit of momentum on their side, but they did do some taunting playing Taylor Swift's 22 before they could not make that happen. So maybe that's a little bit of karma for you guys there. At 26, the Angels sit here. Obviously, the blow of losing Mike Trout, one of the greatest of all time, still hurts, but this is a team that's been out of contention for a while, so it doesn't really matter. At 25, we have the Tigers. The Detroit Tigers sit at 25. This season is a lost season. They'll be much better next year. Same thing with our team at number 24. Taking a spot down are the Washington Nationals. My Washington Nationals are not good. They're fun to watch. They're the comeback kings of the sport, but they're not very good. Davey does not know how to run a bullpen. He's going to kill everybody's arm in there. James Wood is exciting, though, and I can't wait for the future. Both the Tigers and the Nats should be, as long as they don't mess it up in this offseason, really good next season. Playoff teams next year, maybe. We'll see. At 23 of the Blue Jays, the reason they move up, one person, Vlad Guerrero Jr. He's had a torrid month this season. They move up one spot to 23. At 22, we have the Cubs. Them and the Reds at 21 are tied right now. They're 5 games out of the wild card. They're not out of it. They're not out of it, but they both need to kick it into high gear starting like right now. if they want to make the playoffs. The Pirates are just about in the same spot. They fall one spot down from 19 to 20 this week, as they have been slowly tumbling backwards back to where they were more expected to be, rather than contending for a wild card spot like they were a couple of weeks ago. At 19, we have the Rangers. They continue to struggle after winning a World Series. That World Series hangover is rough. Now, injuries suck, and that's a big part of it. They are still a good team. I think they'll be able to turn it around next season, but this is not their year. They sit at 19. At 18, the Rays. They stay there from last week. The Rays are just solid. They made some moves at the deadline. Some might say they got worse. Some might say they got better. It was kind of a neutral move. They're not out of the playoffs yet. They still have a shot in an AL wildcard race that is not anywhere close to being decided. Right now, they're only 5 games out, so they still have a real shot of making a run to the playoffs. At 17, we have the Giants. They are over 500 for the first time in almost a month and a half. Congratulations to them. They've just finished beating up on the Nationals. They move up 3 spots to 17. The Cardinals are on the on the downward spiral. They made a couple of moves at the deadline. It hasn't seemed to be enough. They fall 2 spots to 16. The Red Sox are back where they probably belong, at 15. Right there in the middle of baseball. They are a little better than 500, and they still are in the playoff hunt, but they just feel like the most average team to me at all times. At 14, we have the Braves, and oh, how the Braves, the mighty, have fallen. They came into this season with such lofty expectations. Obviously, it's not their fault. They got killed by injuries. Their favorite to win the Cy Young pitcher, Spencer Strider, goes down early in the season. Their reigning MVP, their reigning MVP, Ronald Acuna Jr., goes down early in the season. The Bats have just never come out to play. They fall 4 spots to number 14. At 13, we have the Seattle Mariners. The Seattle Mariners, again, a really good team. The Bats need to get going. They've started slowly to wake up, but it might not be in time because of the team right ahead of them. The Astros, who are starting to fall. They made a big mistake, I think, at the deadline, more for their future than anything else this season. But mortgaging their future for Yusei Kikuchi is a mistake. The Bats are slowing down, but we've seen them be really slow at the beginning of the season. They were heating up. I believe in this Astros team. They'll come back. At 11, we have our biggest risers of the week. The Arizona Diamondbacks up 5 spots to number 11, their highest ranking of the season. That trade deadline, that All-Star break, did them wonders. They've been one of the hottest teams in baseball since then. Either them or the Padres have that title, who we'll get to in a little bit. But I want to focus on Josh Bell, who ever since coming in as an injury replacement has been back to his former self of about 3 years ago, hitting everything out of the park. He's been awesome to watch in Arizona. At 10, we have the Royals. Bobby Witt Jr. might be the best player in the league. Maybe. Some people are saying that. He's really good at baseball. The Royals were very smart to lock him up. It's going to be a really interesting MVP race this season in the AL between him, Soto, Judge, and Gunnar Henderson. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. At 9, I have the New York Mets. They continue to win baseball games. They have been the hottest team in baseball since June. They go up 2 spots to 9. At 8, we have the Twins. And don't look now, but if the Twins sweep the Guardians this series, they'll move to first place in that division. This is a very important series to watch over the weekend. That's going to be something to keep an eye on for playoff standings. The Twins move up 1 spot to 8. We have a flip-flop. The Brewers have been sitting very pretty at 6, basically all season long. We have a flip-flop. They fall 1 spot to 7, not because they did anything wrong, but because of how hot the Padres have been. The Padres have been incredible all season long. I had to bump them up. The Padres are awesome. They sit there at 6 right now. Everything is going their way. At 5, we have the Dodgers. This top 5 has legitimately stayed the same all season. We've had the same top 5, just in a bunch of different orders all year long. This is the lowest the Dodgers have been. And again, not necessarily anything against them. Shohei Ohtani is starting to pitch again. That is terrifying. That should terrify everyone in baseball. He's gonna win. He's gonna win the MVP as a DH, which is not something you're supposed to be able to do. But he's gonna find a way to do it because he's Shohei Ohtani. He is that special of a player. The Dodgers sit down 2 spots at 5. The Phillies are 1 spot above them. They're down 3 from the number 1 spot last week. This is because they just beat the Dodgers in a series. Kyle Schwarber, 3 home runs. He is an enigma. I don't understand Kyle Schwarber. He is the embodiment of the 3 true outcome, and he's so much fun to watch. The Phillies fall 3 spots to number 4. The Guardians up 1 spot to 3. Be careful now, the Twins are on them. This is still a really good team. The Lane Thomas edition hasn't quite worked out yet. He's been cold since getting there, but he will turn it up. This is a guy that has good pop in his bat. The Orioles stay at number 2. Gunnar Henderson and that pitching staff, especially the top half of that pitching staff, continue to impress. The Orioles stick at number 2. And the Yankees back up at that number 1 spot, up 4 spots from the number 5 spot. Aaron Judge is a wizard at baseball. I mean, everything he touches goes a million miles away, right? Juan Soto, maybe the best swing in baseball right there. He is maybe the best batter in the world. It's crazy to watch, have those 2 in the lineup, and the pitching has started to turn it around. The Yankees are back on top of the MLB world, the baseball world. We'll see if they can keep that up. Let me know what you thought. If you agree or disagree with my list, I would love to hear from you guys. But we're going to take a break for the weekend. I hope everybody has a great weekend. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. You've been listening to Sports by GSMC Podcast Network. I've been your host, Jeremy Lapidus. We will be back on Monday covering everything from over the weekend. The Olympics will be over. We'll do an overview of every major story that happened over the Olympics as the closing ceremonies are on Sunday. So come back on Monday. We'll talk about all of that and more here on Sports by GSMC Podcast Network. I hope everybody has a great weekend, and I will see you then. Have a good one. Bye-bye. Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my phone. I feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Been tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet. Damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go.